You're about to watch Rockin Robbie live. Bunker down and see you on the other side.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome to Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host for tonight's festivities, Rockin Robbie Billups Station. Pop, pop, boom. Welcome up into the room, everybody. This is the show where we gather on Sunday nights to talk about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We, tonight, will be revealing the DC sneak peek. We'll be talking a little bit about some of the comics and some of the movies I watched over the week. And, of course, whatever you want to talk about, because even though we do have a little bit of a plan, grandiose and self-serving, some may call it, this show is driven, in fact, fueled, if you will, call it, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. What do you want to chat about? And while we're doing that, welcome. How is everybody doing? Super excited to see all you beautiful people out there in the chat tonight. I do want to remind you, you can follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on X at the Rockin Robbie if you feel so inclined. I'm never there. Don't really do anything on X anymore. Everybody's moving that blue sky thing. I don't know if I want to just do another thing, you know? Anyway, that's what's going on there. If you want to support the channel, you can do so with that patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there. Or of course, with Super Chat tonight. All right. We're now going to pause for station identification, everybody. Get your stations out. What do you want to chat about? Let us know. All right, just that I compose myself, man. You know, this is the second Rockin Robbie Live back after an extended hiatus, so we're not all quite getting there yet. Maybe a little bit of a hiccup here and there, but for the most part, we're good. How is everybody doing? We'll be getting to the chat soon, but I do want to remind you that tomorrow night, PCP Movie Night, 8 p.m. Central Time, we're concluding our look at the Back to the Future trilogy with Back to the Future Part 3. This has been an absolutely fantastic revisit on PCP Movie Night with me, Jelani, Brooks, Fable, and Stu. Week to week, checking out and unpacking each Back to the Future movie, and we wrap that up tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time. But PCP Movie Night's not done, and the last 3 shows are all in December. And this year we're celebrating Van Damme December. So the week after this, a week from tomorrow, the PCP Army Van Damme 2024 poll winner, Double Impact, will be the movie of discussion. After that, we'll be talking about Time Cop, and then the final PCP movie night of 2024, and it goes to Street Fighter. Movie so good that we had to talk about it twice. This is the second time, right? So Back to the Future 3 tomorrow night. The following Monday, we got Double Impact starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. The week after that, Time Cop starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. And the week after that, to wrap up the 2024 season of PCP Movie Night, Street Fighter starring Raul Julia and Jean-Claude Van Damme. You can catch me Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time at Blood Splattered Chatter. We'll be talking about Smile and Smile 2. Very excited to check out Smile 2. I've been hearing decent enough things, but I am a big fan of, I believe her name is Naomi Scott. So I'm excited to check it out. I remember decently liking the first one, so I might have to revisit that one. And then after that show, the return of the all-new, all-different Blame Fable show. That's going to be Friday night. And then Saturday night at a special date and time, Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time, the best comics of the month, the monthly comic book review. We'll be joined by Nick, Bearded Comic Bro, and of course, 9-panel grid, Easy Eric. So, super excited for all of these great shows. PCP Movie Night tomorrow night, Back to the Future 3. Catch me on Blood Splatter Chatter Friday night. After that, check out the whole crew over at the all-new, all-different Blame Fable show. And then the monthly review to wrap up the week of PCP Network live streams. All right. So, we'll get to the chat in just a second, but we can't officially kick off the show without your very own official First Five. All right, going through the DVD collection. We've been slowly getting through this. We're in the R's. Here's one, Ricky-O, The Story of Ricky. This DVD is precious to me because it was sent to me by Bullseye Bob from Everything Comics, from the Coffee and Comic Show with Bueller. We all know him. We all love him. This was one of the movies that he sent me. I watched this movie. I absolutely loved it. And I let Brooks and Jelani watch it. And they were like, what the fuck was that? But I have a lot of fun with that. All right, then it's my favorite Disney movie, Robin Hood. I can't explain it. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with this Disney movie for some reason. Of course, I got a lot of my Disney movies on DVD because I just never really upgraded. I love these slips, though. Robin Hood, that's a great one. Here's one I need to upgrade for sure because it's my favorite, absolute favorite Wes Anderson film, The Royal Tenenbaums, on Criterion DVD. So one day that needs to be upgraded. So does this one, right alongside it, Rushmore, on Criterion DVD. Two really good Wes Anderson films. And another Disney movie. This is the classic collection of the Caballeros. I don't know how to really say that. I always called it the Caballeros when I was a kid. It's got the two movies, Saludos Amigos and the three Caballeros. So there you go. I haven't seen that one in forever. Anyway, that's been your very own and official First Five. All right. Caballeros. All right, thank you. Caballeros. Thank you. Thank you, Jay Nunya. I really appreciate that. All right, let's take a look at the chat. We got GT Key Comic in the house. Dr. War God saying, I just made a bid on Frank Miller's Daredevil run on eBay. Which one? The initial run with Klaus Janson, or the second run with David Mazzucchelli for Born Again, or the third run with John Romita Jr. and Man Without Fear? GTK Comic asking which one? The Born Again run? Dr. Wargott says the one where he first fights Kingpin and Elektra debuts. Nice. That's some good, solid stuff. Really great comics. And that run really defined Daredevil. I mean, there was stuff that came before, and it at times tried to veer into a darker territory, but what Frank Miller did with that book, Frank Miller and Klaus Janson, what they did really kind of cemented and set Daredevil apart and gave Daredevil a very distinct and necessarily needed place in the Marvel Universe, if that makes sense. Hey, Hammer Time Holshoe, what is up, my man? Jay wants to know, where's the bud at? Well, we were smoking a little bit before, but I got a little bit of this, so here's to you, man. We got Two Gun Pedro in the house. Pew pew, my man. Bobby De La Ghetto is in the house. CTA Frank. 9-panel grid. What is up? Look at all those blue wrenches. Throwing wrenches all over the place like dodgeball. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Comic Cinephiles in the house. What is up, my man? Let's go. James, what is up, my man? Hammer Time says, I'm on Street Fighter 1. Excited. All right. Oh, you're on the movie review. Is that what you're just saying? You're on the Street Fighter 1. Oh, hell yeah. Are you? Are you sure about that? I don't know. John, you are indeed on the Street Fighter 1. You're right. Good memory. Keith, what is up, my man? It's going well. It's going well. Taki, how are you doing, my man? We got Eddie Von B in the house as well. Rogue Collecting. James throwing out that hardcore station. Hammer Time says, for your information, I finally watched Alien Romulus, and it was pretty awesome. Yeah, I liked Alien Romulus. I thought it was good. I liked how it went back to the horror roots of the first one. That's what I really, really appreciate about Alien Romulus. And some of the performances are really good. In fact, the dude that plays the android, I can't remember the android's name right now, absolutely stellar. The main chick was absolutely stellar. The movie had that nice tone and atmosphere. For the most part, I really enjoyed it. I would say it's like the third or fourth best Alien movie. Depending on how I'm feeling on any given day. Alien is always at number 1. But 2, 3, and 4 are always right now interchangeable with me between Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Romulus. Just saying. And I do like the Prometheus and I like Covenant, but they're not as good as those other ones. But they're definitely better than Resurrection. So I'll say that too. Keith says, Sword in the Stone was my favorite Disney movie when I was a kid. I remember loving that one as well. The Black Cauldron as well. I remember liking that one. The Aristocats was a personal favorite of mine as well. Caballeros. The Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos. I am super white sometimes, man. All right. Easy says, hell yeah, John. Romulus was dope. Taki with Super Chat saying, let's get this party started right. His name is... Well, Taki, we really do appreciate the Super Chat. All Super Chats are always welcome because they help keep the lights on, keep PCP rolling into the year PCPX. All right, let's go. Let's go. If you know the words, sing along, everybody. Let's go. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nana who had a sex with a demon, but was raised by Professor Broom, and now he fights evil and monsters. Shit! Now he fights with a man who's a fish named Abe. And now he fights with a fire starter named Liz and an ectoplasmic mess named Johann. PPRD. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tacky, for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. But all the support we need is just y'all being here, participating in the conversation, asking the questions, participating in that conversation. I said that already. Also, hit that like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. You know, do what you will. We get home of the Brave Comic News and Review saying what's cracking is the PCP Army in the chat, just like snap, crackle, pop, pop, boom, corn. I think by next week, Rockin Robbie Live will be fine again. We'll see. Comic Cinephile says, I need to up my game on Frank Miller Daredevil. Really great stuff. I mean, Marvel doesn't really do us any favors sometimes by not really keeping it available in print. I have like some of the earlier, I guess they were like Marvel Visionaries or whatever. I have the volume 1, 2, and 3 of Frank Miller, and it collects that initial run. I got Born Again in the trade, and I got Man Without Fear in the trade. I have bits and pieces of original issues from the original run, but I don't have a near complete run at all. One of my prize comics is I do have a 181, which is the death of Elektra. Spoilers. She got better, right? But I have that, and I have met Klaus Janson and Frank Miller, and they have both signed it. So that's like a prized book in my collection. But mostly in those graphic novels, and it's still like, it's those early 2000s graphic novels. Like if I read that shit too hard, I would probably like rip it apart. I know that there's an omnibus that you can get the whole thing, but sometimes omnibuses are not practical for a lot of people. But that's something that Marvel needs to keep in print. They pretty much for the most part do keep Born Again in print. Especially now because the show's coming out, but they don't always keep that initial run in print, and I think it should always be in print because that's some major big deal comics, right? There's certain things that should always be in print. The entirety of the Chris Claremont run throughout the 80s, the entirety of that run with Byrne, it should be in print. And I'm not just talking about big omnibuses, right? Because that's impractical to certain people as far as just the way to read it, the cumbersome nature of it, the price point of entry, right? And storage, right? So like maybe there's storage, but if they're going to buy like 10 trade paperbacks, I get it. But you know what I'm saying? Like we need that stuff in print, the Claremont stuff. We need like Peter David Hulk stuff. We need, like all throughout the 80s, the Spider-Man stuff, all the Tom DeFalco, Ron Friend stuff, like put that stuff out in trade, like all incomplete, all complete. Roger Stern, like put it out in affordable trade paperback collections. That's what people really want. Now, I guess they're doing that with the Epic collections, but it's hard to get in that. Like, and if you didn't start from day one, good luck trying to piece together collections. Some things go out of print. Are they going to put it back in print? You don't know. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do, and it's like $5, $10 more. Sometimes they don't. It just sits there. They'll never print it again. Who knows? It's just, That being said, Marvel needs to be better, and they need to have Frank Miller's Daredevil run, the entirety of it, in print at all times in affordable packaging. Damn. All right, that was more like it. Dr. Wargott says, it's like a great crime movie in comic book form. Miller is very cinematic. Yes. And this was not, you won't say the first time that a more cinematic approach was being integrated into comics, but it is credited with aspects of that. Also, bringing in a slight bit of a manga influence. Now, it's not fully integrated itself into his work at that point, but pieces of it are still there, or at least the bits of his style that are going to work so well with his manga influence that he really starts kind of pushing out there in books like Ronin, for instance, and even Dark Knight Returns. And definitely Sin City. Choose Violence. Yo, what's up, my man? 62 Lefty Blues is in the house with a station evening, peoples. Ooda lolly, golly, what a day. Hell yeah, Eddie. I love Robin Hood too. It's good shit. Hammer Time says, you bump me from Street Fighter and I will totally sneak in your place and steal all of your socks. That'd be terrible, man. Don't do something like that. Don't even threaten that. Don't even threaten that. Nah, man, you ain't bumped. You good. Choose Violence says, slow reading week, only 2 back issues, G.I. Joe #1 and Heatseeker #1. Good shit. I really like G.I. Joe #1. I haven't read Heatseeker. I remember trying to read Gun Honey at first, and I never really got into it. I just kind of passed it over real quickly, but it's pretty high top selling. It's a pretty good performer at my comic shop. And now I'm pretty sure I know the reasons, but people do tell me that it's actually a good, fun book. So I don't know. What do you think? Choose Violence. Should I read Gun Honey and the Heatseeker and that whole thing? Should I dive in? Eddie Von B says, Phantasm, great hoodie. That was my first movie I watched for my Oktoberfest this year. Hell yeah, Phantasm's one of my favorites. We still got to break it down for a horror fest. We've never devoted a horror fest night strictly just to Phantasm, the first movie. We have done the franchise review a few years ago. We did all 5 movies. So that was fun, but I really want to go into the first one and really break that one down. That would be fun. Phantasm's one of my favorite movies. And I got to meet the writer and director Don Coscarelli this year. I got to meet A. Michael Baldwin, the star, and I got to meet the other star, Reggie Bannister. So that was super freaking cool. Great Phantasm experience for me this year. If you want to hear those stories, check out my Scarefest report here on the channel. That being said, anybody check out the C. Thomas Howell interview I did? Very few people watched it, but it's out there. C. Thomas Howell from The Outsiders, from E.T., from Red Dawn, from The Hitcher, from Soul Man. Had a little bit of a conversation with him. 11-minute video is up on the channel now. Sledhead, what is up? Our Ariaga's here. Station, I saw Wicked yesterday in 5 You Digs. That's an awesome movie. Yeah, I'm behind on movies. There's 3 out right now in theaters I actively want to go see. Wicked, Gladiator 2, and Heretic. And I just have not been able to have the time to get to the theater. And I need that. That's something I need. I should have went to church today, but it didn't because I had things I had to do. However, we're going to make that time at some point. You got to make time for the theater. At least I do. Eddie says Bambi was delicious. I mean, good. 62 Lefty Blue says Golden Voyage of Sinbad was a good one. Hammer Time says, I was more of a Don Bluth kid, but I love the Rescuers movies if I had to pick from animated Disney films. Hell yeah. Darren, what the fuck is this? Your guess is as good as mine. Slithead says, best song for Sunday nights. Thank you, home. Simpleton DC is here, says Man Without Fear is near and dear. Absolutely, I would agree with that. That's a really cool book, really cool John Romita Jr. artwork as well. 9 Panel Grid says Daredevil by Miller and Mazzucchelli is peak comics. Born Again is the perfect hero story. I can't really pick any holes in that theory at all, Eric. 100%. Born Again is pitch perfect. Pitch perfect. Death of Elektra? No. Yeah, don't worry. She gets better. She'll die again. She'll get better. She's got a Red Band book coming now. There's a Daredevil Red Band book that's the Elektra Daredevil. I'm getting sick of this Red Band shit already, y'all. I feel bad that I told everybody that if you're reading Blood Hunt, you should read the Red Band edition. Now, I do believe that's true because Blood Hunt, the Red Band edition, was pretty fucking dope, right? But ever since, all the Red Band shit they're doing, including the Wolverine Revenge, like, what the fuck? Like, you're paying for bullshit. You're paying an extra $1 for some bullshit. That's what you're doing. It's bullshit. Hey, we have Fable in the house with a pop, pop, boom, and a station. What is up, my man? How you doing? Good to see you here. Yep, the Daredevil Born Again Artist Edition is being re-released. Absolutely. Make a nice 1-2 punch between that and the Year One Artist Edition, right? Silhouette says, I can't get over this feeling of dread about Dan Slott coming to DC for Superman after Bendis. I've heard those rumors. I don't know if they're been confirmed as anything more than rumors. But I hope not. Honestly, I think Superman's in a pretty solid place right now. But what I have heard that if he does, it's going to be kind of like that Superman Superstars thing where like they did it with Gail Simone and Jason Aaron, where they came in and just did like a short story. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't say I'm a Dan Slott fan. Dan Slott has written things that I really enjoy. Including I liked his first run at Superior Spider-Man. And after Superior Spider-Man, the worldwide era of Spider-Man, I really liked that stuff. Everything else is all right. I mean, it's all right. But I was Spider-Versed out very quick into all that, and they just keep beating that dead horse, right? But I guess that horse ain't dead, but they're just beating the hell out of it. It's going to be dead soon. If it ain't already. I think it might be near dead in comic books. But definitely that new movie, when that third part comes out, that's going to be dope. But, yeah. So all that to say, yeah, I don't really want Dan Slott to come in and take over a Superman book right now. I think they're fine. William, yeah, I agree. Simonson's Thor, Burns' Fantastic Four, Claremont's Marvel team-up run as well, yeah. That's why I used to love the Essential collections. I wish I would have. I used to have more Essential collections, and I eventually got rid of them, and what a dumbass thing to do. I wish I had the full Essentials. So the Essentials, if you're not familiar, they were like cheap black and white collections of Marvel Comics, like from the Silver Age. They were like big. They had like multiple volumes. You could get like dozens and dozens of sequential issues of your favorite Marvel superheroes very cheaply in black and white, like crisp and clean reproductions. I still have a bunch of Fantastic Four ones over there. They're right there. And I still got my Tomb of Dracula ones down there. Yeah, I think they're down there. So I still got my Tomb of Dracula ones. Yeah, they're actually up there. I got Spider-Woman. I got Punisher. I got Black Panther. I got Ant-Man. I got a few. But I wish I had the whole damn thing. But that's the kind of thing that we need. But I guess the Epic Collections, they do. I understand why they would do the Epic Collections and the DC Finest things out of order, right? Because like then you'd get bogged down just collecting like. I mean, how many collections of Superman would you have to do until you got some stuff from the 80s or the 90s, right? If you started from the beginning and just kept doing it, right? You'd have so many damn books. Like, in fact, that's got to be. They actually do complete a big chunk of that DC Finest run. It's got to be a huge collection. I bet Marvel Epic, people that have every one, I bet it's a whole fucking room. I should look up pictures of it. But I like the idea of the cheap black and white ones too. With DC Compact, you could do things like that and just kind of like do little short bursts and runs. Like Marvel tried to do that, like with their little Mighty Marvel Masterworks things. But they don't have a lot of content for the price. They're like $16 and they got like, I don't know, like 8 issues or some shit. I don't know. Collector P is in the house. What is up? Hey, Justin Richards is in the house. Hey, Robbie, did you check out Spectrum this week? No, Diamond's been doing all this weird fucky shit right now where they're like, I guess they're closing warehouses and switching things, consolidating things. And it's causing like Magma, Mad Cave, Dynamite, some Boom Books to not be invoiced on our invoice and then like be shipped later in a replenishment order. And it just is making everything all out of whack with some of these releases. Spectrum was a victim of that, so we haven't gotten our copies yet. Was it good? I was definitely planning on checking it out. And good to see you, Justin. Choose Violence says, dive into Gun Honey. Taki says, you would love Gun Honey, Rockin Robbie. Not bad writing, plenty of action, and she gets naked a lot. Okay, I'll check it out. 9-Panel Grit says, I read Spectrum and dug it quite a lot. Justin says, Heretic is absolutely worth the price of admission. I dug it. Yeah, Heretic, Wicked, and Gladiator 2. Gladiator 2, a lot of curiosity for me on that one. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Wicked, I've never actually seen the musical or anything, so it'd be like a first time experience for me. And I know that the movie will probably not be as good as it would be if seeing it on stage, but I've just never been able to see it on stage. And Heretic, though, is like really something I'm excited to see. Thank you, Two Gun Pedro, for throwing out the link to the interview with C. Thomas Howell, legendary figure in Hollywood. All right. Choose Violence says, binged Penguin, really fucking good. I've started to pull Penguin after watching it. Yeah, the Penguin book that Tom King just wrapped up, I really, really actually enjoyed. I still haven't watched any of the Penguin series, though. It's one I want to get on, but I spent a little bit more time reading this week. Taki says, word, they fucked up Blade with the red band, shaking my head. I agree. 9-panel grid saying red band is BS. Comic Cinephile says, I always watch The Hitcher once a year. Hell yeah, that was probably one of my favorite ones. I was excited to talk to him about that one. Justin says, same. It was a little all over the place, but I had a good time with it, and the art was top notch. Speaking on Spectrum. Sledhead says, Dan Slott is doing a great job on Spider-Boy now. Yeah, I thought his Spider-Boy run was pretty good. I eventually just kind of fell out of it. That happens sometimes, right? That happens sometimes. Sometimes I think that I'll let go of a book that I'm actually enjoying just because maybe in the moment I'm like, I got to get this video done. I got to trim some books out this week. So the idea is that sometimes I could go back and revisit some of those books. And actually I did that with the book this last week. I sat down on, I think it was maybe Wednesday or Thursday. No, I think it was Thursday night. I sat down later that night, had some edibles, and I read the new X-Men comic by Jed McKay. I read 3 issues of that and dropped out of it. Very quickly dropped out. I was honestly looking for excuses to cut X-Men books because I didn't want to have a stack of like fucking 4 or 5 X books to get through every single week. But here lately, I've been like really vibing and enjoying Uncanny X-Men. I've been digging Exceptional X-Men. I liked Psylocke #1. Phoenix wasn't too bad. That's a book I also gave up on that I think I need to go back and revisit. And I know that X-Men's about, and I like Jed McKay, and I don't know, man. Like, I felt bad. Or I was curious. Something sparked my curiosity, and I was like, let me just reread them. So I reread 1, 2, and 3. Then I read 4, 5, 6, and 7, and they're not that bad. Now, Ryan Stegman's art, I think I was pretty harsh on it at first for some reason, but I grew to really appreciate his style on that X book. I'm kind of digging the story, the mystery of how these adults are being manipulated so that they manifest mutant powers in adulthood, which is uncommon and unheard of pretty much. The slow reveal of one of the members of that, like, I don't know, I'm kind of digging it. Now, there's another artist, I don't remember the name, but the artist that comes in to do, like, probably about half of those issues are done by another artist, and I don't remember their name, but I don't like that artist that much, especially coming right off of Ryan Stegman. But another case of Robbie blew it off too quickly. But the other thing too is sometimes when I'm reading these books, I'm like, yeah, I may remember the vibe or flow of the story and what's going on, but like, it is hard to keep it all together sometimes. People are always like, how do you keep it all together? You got to trim things away. But what I also need to be better at is going back and rereading things that I dropped out to give them another chance to refresh my mind, to get my head back into the flow of that story. And I've done that with X-Men. So now that X-Men, when number 8 comes out, I'll read it and I'll review it on my weekly review. So I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that, but I have enjoyed X-Men 1 through 7 on my revisit. I will say that. Got that off my chest. R. Ariaga says, I watched the C. Thomas Howell interview. What a cool dude he is. Maybe the younger generations don't know too much of him, but he was in some of the coolest movies back in the day. Choose Violence says, Blade no good. Damn, I recently ordered issue number 1. No, I don't think that it's not good. I think the new Blade number 1 was good. It's a good follow-up to the Blood Hunt stuff. It's continuing Brian Hill on the character. It's only like 5 or 6 issue series though. That sucks and stinks, but like the fact that it's a red band, like that is already starting to like reverberate out into the community I'm seeing, where more people are just skipping red band stuff, and it's dropping the sales down. Raphael says, I prefer Slott over Bendis. Fair enough. I thought Bendis would be revitalized when he came over to DC. I think I did a video talking about how exciting it was, because I thought it would revitalize him and you could put him on books like The Question and this, and then his Superman run started out okay and then got funky, and then all that Checkmate shit was, the Leviathan Checkmate stuff was stupid. So yeah, it did not work out. And his Legion book, yeah, that did not work out the way I thought. Artist formerly known as Jesse Say West says, almost forgot there was a live stream, but here I am, station. Well, happy to have you here. Silhouette says, do you think Peter Parker is the most tragic character in comics? Like he has it the worst among all characters in comics. And I keep hearing Spider-Man fans compare him to Guts from Berserk. I've never seen or never read Berserk, so I'm not familiar with Guts, but I mean, I've heard people say that, but I think there are people that have gone through more tragedy than fucking Spider-Man. I mean, I don't know. Daredevil's fucking had almost every girlfriend of his murdered in front of him or something, so that's cool, right? Let's see, who else has had a tragic life? I'm sure we can think of them. Has somebody who out there is led a more tragic life? I mean, hell, honestly, as far as a tragedy goes, John Constantine's a pretty tragic figure, right? Is Peter Parker the most tragic? I don't know. I just don't think so. There's got to be somebody who's dealt with more death in comics than that. But he might be close. But how tragic can he be? He was married to a supermodel for a long time. He's got like cool powers. He's a funny character. I mean, yeah, his Uncle Ben died. His girlfriend Gwen died. Captain Stacy died. Her dad. You know, I mean, Aunt May died, but it came back. They had a miscarriage. So like, yeah, there's some tragedy there. Batman's had to see Barbara paralyzed. He's had to see Jason Todd killed. He's had to see Gordon's second wife killed. He's had to see his parents killed. So that's pretty tragic too. Maybe. They're pretty close. Who else though? Deathlock's pretty much got it bad, doesn't he? What about Punisher? His whole family murdered. I'm looking at my Toy Biz action figures to get ideas from. The Superman didn't have, his whole, here's an idea. How about this one? Supergirl. The idea that Supergirl has, like, new Krypton. So the loss of Krypton, an entire planet, an entire species, which would mean and resonate differently with her than Superman. Think about that one. I guess Wolverine's kind of got a tragic life, doesn't he? How about Archangel? That poor fucking bastard. All right, moving on. What do you, we do need a Teen Titans comic, to be honest. We have Titans now. I'm sure they'll probably get back to Teen Titans. Fable talking about how much he likes the compact books from DC. Simpleton says best bang for your buck. Raphael says, what do you prefer, Miller and Mazzucchelli's Year One or Born Again? Year One. I would prefer Year One. I just think something about the art is a little bit more special in that one. Nothing against Born Again. I love Born Again. But there's something about Mazzucchelli's artwork in Year One in particular that I think is just astounding. But they're both top tier books. Justin says, yeah, I'm retailing these days, and Diamond has been screwy. Yes, they have. Tom says, my shop has 0 Marvel books this week. Ugh. Joe says, I got Powerpuff Girls number 5, and I would love to see a collection of Marvel Comics Presents. Yeah, that would be a good one. Let's see. I did read, we did eventually get them. So I did read Powerpuff Girls number 5. I enjoyed that. Silly, like Mojo Jojo on the Moon story. Thundercats number 10 was dope. Joe Mulvey is awesome on Thundercats, y'all. That was dope. I did get Flash Gordon number 4. Another great issue of this. Jeremy Adams is doing a fantastic job with this book. And Brett, I hope you watch this, or you watch this on the repeat, but you're always asking me about Sync. We just got our copies of Sync number 11, bro. We just got our copies of Sync number 11. So they also shorted us our 12s, but we just got our copies of 11. So I did read those this week, and those were pretty solid books. And we'll talk more about those on the weekly review this upcoming week. 62 Lefty Blue says, I have 19 Marvel Essentials and 10 DC Showcase Presents, and I got to agree, I love the format. Great to draw from, too. Yeah, I got some showcases, too. So I got 3 Aquaman showcases. I've got a Hawkman showcase with Joe Kubert stuff. As far as Essentials, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5, the first 5 of Fantastic Four. I've got Iron Man. Do I have Iron Man? No, I don't have Iron Man anymore. I have Human Torch, so it collects the Strange Tales Torch stories, so that's cool because that's not something that's really collected. I got Spider-Woman Volume 1, Thor Volume 1, so all the Tomb of Draculas. I got the Monster of Frankenstein, and I got Black Panther. I got Ant-Man, and I got Ghost Rider Volume 1. Oh, and a Punisher. Please tell me I still have the Punisher. Yeah, I still have the Punisher one. They are dope, y'all. I'll have to bring them out for show and tell maybe next week. Essentials for show and tell. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. I'll bring out my essentials for show and tell. Tom says, Red Band would be cool if it was completely different, not just one page. I agree. Bobby says, I wonder if they'll do an omnibus with a red band on it. Yeah, right? 9-Panel Grid says, Phoenix is my favorite X book right now, and that's because it doesn't feel like an X book. Yeah, I need to revisit and catch back up on that. I am about to reread the Uncanny X-Men because I've been enjoying it, but I just kind of want to keep it fresh in my mind. I'm going to start trying to find more time to do that. I just need 4 more hours a day. Can I get 4 more hours a day? I would devote 1 more hour to sleep and 3 more hours to being more productive. That would be great. Then you could fit in anything. I feel like I could fit in everything I wanted with 4 more hours a day. What if I just started living my life like that? Just live my life as if there's 28 hours a day. And so I would have this weird funky sense of time. I wonder if I could, obviously you probably couldn't make it work. I don't know, in today's world, with what we know about like blue light and red light and shit like that, maybe you can make it work. Man, like if you were in space, I guess your body is used to this 24-hour day, so that would probably be hard to fucking break. But I don't know. Could we just do that? Could we just give ourselves 28-hour days? But yeah, But I know that X-Men and Uncanny are about to hit some kind of like a crossover thing. I wanted to be prepared for that. Yeah, Joe's right there. Joe, you're going to need to pick up X-Men and Uncanny for a 4-part story. Hammer Time says, hard to keep it all together sometimes. It's the story of my goddamn life, man. Jesus. Too real, brother. Here's to you. Here's a peach seltzer water to you. There you go. It's like taking care of your pubic area. You got to trim things away. That's true. Taylor says, monthly comics are monthly. If they can't grab you from month to month, I don't go back and reread to see if they've gotten better, especially not at $5 an issue. I understand that completely, Taylor. I luckily have the ability to do so. I didn't have to go to a comic shop and buy the books of X-Men that I missed to catch up. I just went to my shop because I run a shop and I just got to grab them. I brought them home. I read them. I took them back, put them back in the warehouse, right? So I have the ability to do that, and that's one of the reasons why I do these shows, is so that I can tell y'all, actually, it's not that bad. So if it's maybe something you might want to trade weight, if it sounds more to your appeal. I'm not saying it's a great book, though. But I do think it's I don't know, man. I can judge a book very harshly sometimes when I first read it. I don't know what I don't know. I always feel like I'm a bad reviewer because of that. Because I can review a book, be like, oh, this wasn't very good. Don't waste your time. And then like later on, I'll reread it and be like, actually, that wasn't that bad. But it is different to judge books on a weekly basis. Exactly what you're saying, Taylor, right? On a weekly basis, they come out like month to month, sometimes more than once a month, right? And that's a lot of competition. So judging books based on their own merit versus in the midst of, here's what's coming out this week, here's what's worth your time. I don't know if that makes sense. 9-Panel Grid says, sounds like you're referring to revisiting your comics, Robbie. Almost like Comics Revisited. Yeah, that'd be a fun one to bring back, wouldn't it? That'd be cool. Robbie, what's on your Amazon wish list? Oh man, I've been planning on redoing my Amazon wish list because we are hitting the holiday season, actually. This week is, of course, Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody who celebrates that. House of Yes, Blood Rage, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. These are all great Thanksgiving movies. Thanksgiving by Eli Roth. But House of Yes, if you've never watched House of Yes, you should watch House of Yes for Thanksgiving. But yeah, I have an Amazon wish list. But I'm going to add some more stuff to it. But I can pull it up right now, man. Let's drop that in the chat because it is getting close to Christmas time. And as everybody usually knows, if you don't know, now you're going to know, is most of my Amazon wish list, of course, is movies, right? If you buy me a movie, it may take a while because we stack these things up, but it will be reviewed at some point on the channel. There is the Amazon wish list right there. If you want to look at it, Two Gun Pedro or anybody else. I'm also going to redo the PCP Studio wish list because there are a few things now that we need for the studio. One Collection Down says, just got caught up on Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm really digging it. Man, that book is good. It'd be good to do a reread of all of that, like all 10 or 11 issues now, all at once. I love that book. Comic Cinephile says, I dropped Phoenix, X-Force, Dazzler, and maybe Mystique. Wolverine, I'm really giving it a chance. Loving the rest of the X books, and Sentinels is really good. Yeah, I'm having fun with Sentinels. Sentinels, of course, written by Alex Packnadell. I wanted to reread Mystique #1 before 2 comes out this week. And then I set them aside for me at work, and then I left them behind. I set aside Mystique #1. I set aside the Uncanny X-Men books, just kind of read through those again. I am carving more me time for reading and watching movies. In fact, I've watched a couple movies this week that I want to talk about as well. But we're about near our first break. So Phoenix is one I'm going to catch back up on too, though. Though I did commit to a show later this week, the Blood Splatter Chatter show, which I wasn't planning to do, but yesterday I committed to it, so I got to fit in both of those movies. So maybe after the stream tonight, I'll go and rewatch Smile, and then maybe I can fit in Smile 2 at some point this weekend. I'm watching a movie. I've been watching a movie every Wednesday night. I've been watching movies along with a friend. We've been going through the Hell House franchise, so we're on the fourth one and the final one for now because the fifth one has not out yet. And I liked 1 and I liked 2. I did not really like 3. And I guess I'm looking forward to watching part 4 just because of the company. But those movies are taking a nosedive right now, I'll tell you that. Do you think when Marvel does the Blood Hunt Omnibus that they will do one non-red for 125 and the red band for 150? That would be a ripoff. Raphael, I wouldn't be fucking surprised if they did. Have they already announced the Blood Hunt Omnibus? But I would not be surprised. That would be some bullshit. And yeah, which one do you collect? It's weird. All right, here we go. Most Tragic Heroes. Choose Violence says Frank Castle. Joe says Logan, Wolverine. R. Ariaga says Bruce Wayne. Bobby says the Hulk. Justin says Swamp Thing. There's some good answers. Do you think having Steve Rogers become a dad could refresh his character like John Kent did for Clark? I don't know, Joe. The right writer, maybe. Maybe that could work. I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe with the right writer, they can make it work. Bobby says Uncle Ben had a tragic life. Hammer Time says Al Simmons, maybe. He's fucking dealt with some tragedy too, man. Yep, Dr. War God right there. Al Simmons. Fable says, agree, Bobo. Bruce Banner. Ghost Rider. We're talking about the most tragic comic book superheroes. Taylor says, Ben Grimm. That's a fucking good one. Why didn't I think of that? Bobby says, yeah, I was going to say Ben Grimm, but it worked out for him. He's happily married now. Yeah, you're kind of right about that. Evil Face Bad says, finally, Justice League returns to stores this week. Yeah, it does. I've read it. I've also read Ron V's New Gods #1. That book is fucking awesome, y'all. New Gods fans, you're going to love it. It's so good. Joe says Storm is badass. Yeah, that's the other one. I've been really liking Storm. 2 issues in, I'm really liking it. Kitten Puke says Moon is Following Us is the best book out right now. Fight me. I think it's one of the best. I love that book. Seems like whatever Daniel Warren Johnson does is always one of the best of the year. Bob Fisher's here says last X related book I liked was Helverine. Anything DWJ is my jam, says Bob as well. Joe says, kiss, marry, kill on these iconic comic runs. Grant Morrison, Batman, Brubaker, Captain America, Hickman's Avengers. That's tough. So that means I got to pick one of those for each of those, right? Kiss, marry, kill. Like, I can't just be like, they're all 3 great, so marry all 3. I have to kill one, marry one, and kiss another one. So I guess you're saying rank them 1, 2, 3. So I can do that. All right. Number 3. So that would be kill. I'll go Brubaker, Captain America. Sucks to have to kill that one because it gave us great MCU films with Winter Soldier, Civil War. It's a great run. It's a great Captain America run. But honestly, Kiss for me is Grant Morrison's Batman. Anything Grant does, I'm a big fan of. I like his Batman run. I think that they've done other things that are better than the Batman run. New X-Men, JLA, The Invisibles. So Batman's a little bit lower on that. And honestly, maybe I want to kill Morrison's Batman run. Maybe I want to do that to keep in Brubaker's Cap run because Grant's got a lot of great superhero work and Brubaker has some great superhero work. He's got Captain America and Daredevil. Those really stand out to me, but a lot of his more successful and really solid work is on its own. Gotham Central, actually pretty good. A little bit of Batman stuff, but Gotham Central in particular, along with Greg Rucka. Michael Lark as well. That's tough. So maybe kill Grant's Batman, even though that would be painful to say. Kiss. But it all comes down to marry Hickman's Avengers. I fucking love Hickman's Avengers. I actually saw that Perch did a video about Hickman's Avengers and how Hickman widens book scales and scopes so much that it almost breaks the book for future writers. And he's talking about that Avengers run. I fucking love that Avengers run. But if I had to rank them 1, 2, 3, Morrison's Batman would be number 2. Hickman's Avengers would be number 1. Brubaker's Cap would be number 3. Nine Panel Grid says, get on that polyphasic sleep pattern like Batman. Hell yeah. I would love to see Alien versus Predator versus Fantastic Four. That would be a fun one, Joe. They're going to keep doing this. They got a Predator versus Spider-Man coming, so why not? Hey, BlackBox Comics is in the house. What is up, Station? We got Cliff on Comics in the house, too. How you doing, my man? Keith says, I love your reviews. They can help me decide what to buy while I am on a budget. Well, thank you so much. Glad I can be of service. Taylor says, one of the many reasons I've taken a break from reviewing comics, I can't afford to buy all the crappy books. And I don't have the patience to give books much of a chance. Writers need to learn how to write. Fair enough. For the monthly comic, they need to learn to write for the monthly comic format. It's part of their job. There you go. Rams just scored. Chill Out Man is here. I've been watching Satan's Blood, Asylum Erotica, and Slaughter Hotel for Thanksgiving. Hell yeah. I'm not familiar with those movies, but it sounds like a winning trilogy. Is the 3 movies, right? Bob says, I have been embracing paper on ink, but I'm switching to digital for Marvel. William says, Freaks is available at Barnes & Noble at 50% off. Hell yeah. Sweet. Are they doing their Criterion sale or something? Evil Face Bad says, don't really read anything Marvel these days, just Wolverine and the Hulk. Everything else is just indies and DC. Dr. War God says, all the Batman books are crushing it right now. Fable says, nothing wrong with that, Bob. I love physical too, but I've been reading digital for the past 2 weeks and it's been pretty decent. I mean, comics is comics. I prefer comics in my hand, but I'll read them digitally as well. Evil Face Bad says, digital comics make me feel less of a man, like I can't satisfy my woman in bed. Jesus. Cliff on Comics is right. Martian Manhunter, pretty frickin' tragic. Eric Draven for The Crow. Absolutely. Bruce Banner, read the Hulk, The End. Oh, yeah, Eric, you're right. Steve kind of became a dad of sorts in Remender's run. The kid from Dimension Z. I think it's like Arnim Zola's clone kid or some shit, right? Simpleton DC says, so hyped for New Gods. You should be. It's fucking dope. Simpleton, you are going to love it. Kenneth Bird is in the house. Comic Cinephile says, Eli Roth's Thanksgiving gave me Scream vibes. Need to rewatch this week for sure. Me too. I don't own it, but it definitely does have some Scream vibes. Choose Violence said that Black Canary cover got me interested. Be talking about that soon. Cliff says, kiss Avengers, marry Cap, kill Batman. Bobby says, kiss Black Cat, marry Mary Jane, kill Mephisto. John says, kiss, marry, kill Wendy from Wendy's, Taco Bell, Chihuahua, and Colonel Sanders from KFC. Joe says, I would love to see Robbie's 5-year run on Blade. Yeah, I'd love to be able to show it to you. Comic Cinephile is very interested for Metamorpho, The Element Man. Yeah, new book coming out. FOC is this Monday. Written by Al Ewing. I haven't read it yet. Home of the Brave loves physical comics. So do I. Chill Out Man says, Robbie, there's all 3. They're all 70s Italian films, all triple Bs. Bush, boobs, and balls. Jesus. Hell yeah. Sounds like my alley. Right up my alley. Joe says, you know that Doctor Strange will get his title back with the Doom event that is coming. Yeah. I'm excited to see how this all plays out, though. I hate when I have to zoom in with digital comics. It's choose violence, physical all day. All right, we're taking a quick break. When we come back, the DC sneak peek. I got a couple movies I've watched that we can chat about. And we'll just continue chatting here on Rockin' Robbie Live. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Live.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to the second half of Rockin Robbie Live here on a Sunday night. I am your host, Rockin RobbieBillz. This is the show where we gather and we talk about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We've already had a great conversation tonight, so get involved in that conversation because this show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. What do you want to chat about? Drop that information in the chat. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group, and you can support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, or with the super chat, which will trigger the Hellboy song. We do appreciate, though, all the support we have, you just being here, participating in tonight's conversation, liking, sharing, and subscribing. Don't forget, tomorrow night, PCP Movie Night, 8 p.m. Central Time, we conclude our look at the Back to the Future trilogy by diving deep into Back to the Future Part 3. Then, following that, for the last 3 PCP movie nights, we're celebrating Van Damme December. So for the first Monday in December, we're going to be talking about Double Impact, the winner of the Van Damme 2024 PCP Army movie poll. Then after that, the following week, we'll be talking about Time Cop. And then we end the PCP 2024 movie season and Van Damme December with Street Fighter. You can also check me out this Friday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time over at Blood Splatter Chatter as we talk about Smile and Smile 2. And then after that show, check out the all-new, all-different Blame Fables show as it debuts on Friday night. And then Saturday night at 6 p.m. Central Time, it's the monthly comic book review with me, Nick from Comic Culture, Greg from Bearded Comic Bro, and Eric from 9 Panel Grid. All right. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. All right. We're about to be getting into the DC sneak peek, but you know what? I think to celebrate the halfway point of Rockin Robbie Live, we need to have some candy. Some special candy. I'm not telling you what's in these candies, but I'm going to eat 2 of them. They are 40 milligrams each. What does that mean? I don't know. So we'll see what happens in about 40, 45 minutes. Sound good? Sound good? Let's take a look at the chat. Bob Fisher says, my favorite paper on ink lately are these DC Noirs. Feel like a masterclass in line making. Yeah. The Absolute Batman one by Nick Dragata. They're doing one with Hayden Sherman for Absolute Wonder Woman, and they've already did the Chris Samney Batman and Robin Year One, which was fantastic. Silhouette says, am I wrong thinking Hickman is just collecting checks at Marvel, writing Ultimate Spider-Man and these other corporate event-like books instead of being on a passion project? Well, maybe he is. There's nothing wrong with that, though. Wolverine Revenge is not really quite resonating with me, but he's kind of writing the story, I think, for Greg Capullo's talents, what he wants to do. Aliens versus Avengers, the second issue had a little bit more Hickmanisms in it and stuff like that. He's apparently still doing his 3 worlds, 3 moons stuff. But I would like to see more creator-owned stuff from him for sure. Maybe he is just collecting checks. I don't know. Maybe he's got a really insane page rate right now. I don't know. What do y'all think, chat? Comic Cinephile says, physical media always for me. Comics, movies, and music. I'm old school. Bobby says, happy Thanksgiving, y'all, and I hope everyone's got to get something to eat. Hell yeah, man. I'm going to have some good food on Thursday, everybody. Name Changes says, physical media all day long, son. I'm pretty much physical media with my movies, my books, my comics. Not so much with music anymore, though. That is one that I've kind of dropped out of. 62 Lefty Blue says they will have to pry my physical media from my cold, dead hands. Fable says it's getting more and more expensive. Hey, we got Stu in the house. Station, all you beautiful people. How's everyone tonight? Joe says, I really hate it when books are at 19 and they're not all good sometimes. Fable says, Back to the Future has been so much fun so far. I agree. PCP content is stacked. 9-Panel Grit says, that means an hour from now is going to be real interesting. Frankenfrog, what is up, my man? 2 candies could be a 4-hour show. I doubt that. I got to fit in Smile tonight. Carrie, what is up? LOL, 40 each. It seems I dropped in to say hi at the correct time. Yes, you did. Frankenfrog is here with the pop, pop, boom. Choose Violence says absolute Batman number one noir is absolute fire. Absolutely it is. Joe's waiting for absolute Green Lantern. We'll see. I don't know. Al Ewing's work doesn't really work for me so much, so we'll see. Comic Cinephile says, any thoughts on Hellboy the Crooked Man? I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched it yet either. I have not. Hey, Bloodsplatter Chatter's in the house. What is up? Does anyone know when another Punisher run will drop? No, I do not know. A Plus Comics is here with the station, everyone. Yeah, I haven't seen the new Hellboy movie, but one I did watch this last week was I watched Infinity Pool for the first time. Brandon Cronenberg film, son of David Cronenberg, stars Mia Goth, and is it Alexander Skarsgård or something? Man, that movie's wild as fuck. I didn't know what the movie was really about at all. So I'm watching it with a friend. And she had seen it before. I had not. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Did she just? Oh, she did. Okay. Oh, did he just? Oh, he did. Did she just? Oh, he did? Okay. That movie was crazy. That movie was awesome. I really liked it. Like, I want to watch it again, really unpack it. I really feel like it's worthy of a discussion. Verno, have you seen it yet? Have you watched Infinity Pool? Row Collecting says Infinity Pool is wild. I agree. Shit is nuts. Nuts. Bloodsplatter Chatter says, 6 Deuce, still got a cover. Don't look now for you, bro. Gonna send Robbie that copy, still 100. Oh, cool. Thank you. That's cool. That's how you get me on the show. Give me a movie. I'll fucking watch it. Let's do it. What was I saying? Infinity Pool. Has anybody covered that? Yeah, it's nuts, bro. Got to cover that. That movie's good. That's something that would fit for like a March Madness or something. I already put together my March Madness list, but now I'm like, fuck. Should I rethink it? Infinity Pool is dope, especially uncut. DHS did it a while back. Okay. Well, I went on that one. I heard that movie with Mia Goth was cray-cray. It is a little crazy. I loved it a lot. I can't really talk too much about what it's about because discovering what is actually going on in the movie is kind of like part of the movie. But it's fucked. So that's the second Brandon Cronenberg movie I've seen. Now, I'm a huge fan of his father's work, David Cronenberg. Videodrome being my favorite. The Fly, of course. Dead Ringers is an amazing one, which we're covering on PCP Movie Night in the not so near future, or the not so distant future, I should say. The Brood, which we've covered before. Scanners, Dead Zone. Dead Zone's aight, comparatively to some of his other films. And anyway, but Brandon Cronenberg, so I watched Possessor because I did that on, Possessor's the shit too. I did that on Bloodsplatter Chatter with Verno, and I really liked that. And then it got me really excited to watch Infinity Pool, and I finally did. I rented it from my buddy's video store. I rented that one, and I rented another one that we'll talk about right after your DC sneak peek. All right, everybody. Believe it or not, DC's releasing books this week, and I've read them, and I'm going to let you know what I thought about the ones I read. We're doing this Damien, a.k.a. Sleepy Reader 666 style, with the countdown from my least favorite to my most favorite. So kicking off with my least favorite. Now, I will say this. There's none of these books that I would describe as a bad comic. And the only one that I was actually disappointed with was the first one. And that is Black Canary, Best of the Best, issue number 1. Prose for this book, Ryan Sook's artwork. Ryan Sook's artwork is amazing. It's basically a fight, I think 6-round fight between Black Canary and Lady Shiva, but it's written by Tom King. So of course it's overly verbose, but that's kind of part of the point because most of the dialogue in this book is the announcers of the fight. So there's a lot of that going on, but it doesn't really seem to work for me, right? Like, I like some of the work character-wise that's being done with Black Canary here. We're kind of expanding or elaborating more on her world, showing it in a different light, giving it a little bit more of a weight to it. But it's a little bit stunted with the overly wordy nature of the dialogue. And I know that Tom King gets that because one of the characters' names is even like Wordy John or something like that. But it just didn't quite work for me. It was a little lackluster because of it. Then we got Batman Santa Claus Silent Night Returns, issue number 1, written by Jeff Parker, who wrote the original Batman Santa Claus Silent Night, which was a really fun story set in DC continuity with a team up of Batman and members of the Justice League with Santa Claus, right? So now it's back. Some force has overtaken or is trying to attempt to overtake the DC universe, and these heroes have to team up with the one hero that can help them yet again, Santa Claus. This book is charming. It is fun. If you liked the original, you're going to like this one too. And if you missed out on the original, be happy. The graphic novel collection, the trade paperback collection of the original Batman Santa Claus Silent Night is out this week. All right, then we've got Action Comics 1077, the 8th part of this weekly Phantom story by Mark Waid. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed this story. It feels like we're really rearing into the final bit of this story, but it's not quite over yet, and it's got some major epic consequences that seem to be brewing in the pages of this Action Comics story. The Superboy story is pretty solid as well, and the Supergirl story is really tightening its focus and being a little bit more engaging. So Action Comics is still pretty solid. Then we got Nightwing issue 120. This is the second issue of Dan Watters' run with Dexter Soy on the artwork, and I really liked this. I thought it kind of ironed out. I didn't think that Dan Watters' first issue was bad. I just kind of felt like, I don't know about it, right? But this one, it pulled me right in. There's a new threat brewing in Bloodhaven, and it is starting to feel very threatening and menacing. The work being done with Dick Grayson here is cool. The art's fine as well. It's got plenty of action. It's got some intriguing moments, and it's doing some things a little bit different. And it's Dan Watters kind of adapting his style to what Nightwing needs from him. And I think that it might take a couple issues to really kind of sink in, but I'm excited to see where this book is going to go and develop, especially with some of the deliberate Dan Watter-isms that we need in this book that we start seeing towards the end of this issue. Did any of that make sense? Then we got Green Arrow here with issue number 18. This is the first full-on issue with Chris Condon as the writer. He is the writer of That Texas Blood. I know E is a big fan of that book. This was pretty solid. I liked it. It has a nice deliberate pace, lots of silent sequences, but it still feels very measured and intentionally so. I liked the backstory of this new threat, or not. There's a new threat that's somehow connected to some part of a new angle and aspect of Oliver's backstory. So I liked that. I liked the deliberate, like I said, measured nature of the pacing in this book. I thought it was pretty solid, and I'm excited to see where his run's going to go. This might be my favorite DC cover this week. It's just a shame this man is no longer with us, but this is Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue number 3. Tim Sale cover. Look at that beautiful coloring on it, too. This is a great book. It's really cool, solid stuff. Jeff Loeb is back giving us the next part of the Long Halloween saga, right? We have Long Halloween. We've got Dark Victory. Hell, we even have Catwoman When in Rome. You can even count the Haunted Night stuff if you want. But this is the next part. It's like the next year. There's a new holiday killer out there. Also, somebody has kidnapped James Gordon's son. So all that mystery, all that intrigue, this one focuses in a little bit on the Riddler. I've been liking this, and the artwork in this is by Mark Chiarello, and the art is really, really freaking good. Really good. So at first I was like, okay, but this dude's a legend, and then I totally got into it. All right. My top 4 DC books of the week. Superman, issue number 20. Josh Williamson has leveled up on Superman. Superman by Josh Williamson was already good, and now we got the team complete with Dan Mora. I've been begging for this for years. Put Dan Mora on Superman. They do, and we are not disappointed. Beautifully rendered, giant, explosive superhero action. Really also elevating those smaller moments, the way these characters emote with their faces, the small moments, the big moments. Dan Mora on Superman with the writing sensibility and the knowledge and the structure from Josh Williamson is making this so exciting. Doomsday is back, and back in a different way than we've ever seen him before. This is just damn fun, solid Superman books. You tell me that Lois Lane's going to be the new Superwoman, palling around with Superman fighting Doomsday. I'm going to tell you, that sounds stupid. Nope, it's not. Because Josh Williamson knows what he's doing, and Dan Mora elevates a book like crazy. Speaking of Dan Mora, he's got a second book out this week. It's Justice League Unlimited, issue number 1. A new era dawns for DC and the Justice League. After the events of Absolute Power, the Justice League is back finally and bigger than ever. Pretty much every superhero in the DC universe is a part of this new initiative. It feels big. It feels connected. It feels epic. It feels like it's got that scale. The threats are big. The story's got moving parts. It's going in one direction, another direction. It's big. It's got a big reveal at the end that sets up something to come that I'm really excited about. This is top-notch superhero comics. Mark Waid has had a few attempts at Justice League, but now he's doing it with Dan Mora. And like I said, Dan Mora elevates books. He's got 2 out this week that are absolutely fantastic. Top 2 DC books. Detective Comics 1091. Yo, I was really sad when we knew that Ron V's Detective Comics run was going to end. I was a little excited to hear that Tom Taylor was coming in because Tom Taylor's a pretty solid writer. He did a pretty solid run on Nightwing and a decent enough run on Titans. His Batman work, 2 issues in, pretty freaking solid. Story is great. It's intriguing. It's adding new ideas to the Batman mythology. It's doing something that without having to subvert everything that came before. It's doing things that I think are slightly clever. It's intriguing me. It's engaging me. But this artwork by Mikhail Hanin, this is the best I've ever seen from this dude. Ever. Now, I believe that Hanin is coloring it himself. This is freaking amazing. The coloring, the action sequences, the perspectives, the angles that are chosen, the flow of the book. When it slows down, it still feels big. And when it speeds up, it still feels nuanced. The color in this book is absolutely amazing. It is so freaking good. I've got to find... Yeah, Mikhail Hanin does the coloring himself. It is so freaking good, y'all. It's so good. But my favorite DC book this week was Absolute Wonder Woman, issue number 2. Kelly Thompson continues to develop this story, not just what is going on, giving us a little bit more clarification on who these monsters are, what are they harbingers of. We start seeing a little bit more of that knowledge be given out to us, but also more backstory, including A little bit of Steve Trevor action. They already are getting to the Steve Trevor stuff. It's different, but it still feels at the core Wonder Woman. I love this iteration of the character, and Hayden Sherman's artwork is spec-frickin-tacular. I love it. I absolutely loved issue number 1 of this, and I love issue number 2 just as much. This by far is it early on, I know, but right now this is the one out of all the Absolute books that's really standing above and beyond for me. 2 issues in, and I'm already thinking this might be one of my best books of the year. So to recap, from least favorite to most favorite. Black Canary, best of the best, issue number 1. Just a little overwrought, I thought, and the only true disappointment this week. Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night returns, issue number 1. If you like the original, if you love that Christmassy charm, you're going to like this one. Then Action Comics is back, and it's still a solid book. Then we got Nightwing by Dan Waters starting to solidify its own identity. Then we got Green Arrow, the first full issue by Chris Condon, and it starts pretty strong. Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, a really great book, a great mystery, and really solid art from Mark Chiarello. Superman, Dan Mora elevates books, including this one. It's great, a great Doomsday story as well. Justice League Unlimited, issue number 1. Dan Mora elevates stories, and Mark Waid does a great job of having all this giantness kind of balanced perfectly well. Detective Comics, Tom Taylor's doing a great job, but Mikhail Hanin is doing a killer job on that. But Absolute Wonder Woman, that's the DC sneak pick of the week. The DC pick of the week. I freaking love that book, and that has been your very own and official DC sneak peek. Boom, there we go. Set those books right there. If you dare, or if you care. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Comic Cinephile says, Ty West's X trilogy was creatively done. Each had its own distinct flavor, and Mia Goth kills it. I completely agree. Check out over at Blood Splatter Chatter, their conclusion of Horror Fest this year. We talked about all 3 of those movies in one show. 62 says, watched Maxine the other day. That looks like a red one. They did this one a little bit first. When does Green Arrow 18 come out? This week. Okay, never mind. There you go. Stu says, or no, not Stu. Eric says, hell yeah, so excited for Green Arrow. Simpleton says, you and me both, E. The guy from Sisu did a scary Christmas movie called Rare Exports, A Christmas Story. It's in my holiday playlist now. Nice. I have to write that one down. Rare Exports. I think I've heard about that. Silhouette says, hype for Absolute Wonder Woman this week. What about World's Finest? Dan Mora is no longer on World's Finest. Who is the most prolific comic artist to debut in the 2000s or later? Prolific? Hayden Sherman, probably one of them. Hayden Sherman, Dan Mora. Probably those two. Choose Violence says, Lois is Superman, not for me. No, it's Superwoman. And it will just be temporary. Silhouette says, bro, Detective Comics by Tom Taylor is so good. Comic Cinephile can't wait for Justice League Unlimited. 9-Panel Grid says, DC is wild right now. I just hope they can keep this up for a good long time. A+ Comics says, Absolute Batman needs a rocket launcher. Dr. Wargod says, I think Mikhail Hanin is up there with the best working artists. Thank you, Fable. Hydra Asylum is in the house. You want to know what happened to the last person who tried to kill me? It's Maxine quote. Comic Cinephile says Absolute Wonder Woman's backstory is so intriguing. JL is my first read, then Absolute Wonder Woman will be following the next. War Duke says, was in Huntsville at Space Camp this weekend, but missed Rockin Robbie at the Deep. We'll see you next time. Oh man, sorry I missed you. All right, another book or another movie that I watched that I rented from my buddy's video shop was Cinema Paradiso. So I'm up there. I take my girlfriend up there because she hadn't seen it yet, and there's a person up there who runs a place in town called KBS VHS, which I didn't even know about, but it's a shop that specializes in VHS sales and stuff. So I was talking to her and my buddy David, who runs the shop, Big Mix, and we're all just chatting together. And they're all talking to me about, David always recommends a bunch of movies. He'll recommend like 20 movies to me, right? But he brought up Cinema Paradiso. And he's like, have you ever seen this one? I was like, no, but I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. And him and the owner of KBS VHS both were like, this movie's great. It's a movie for movie lovers. And she was even like, it's for people who love cinema. It's cinema for people who love cinema. So I was like, all right, let me take it and read it, watch it. So I rented it and I watched that. That movie was fucking awesome. Has anybody ever seen Cinema Paradiso? It is absolutely freaking awesome. It is amazing. It is brilliant. It is a movie about this dude in a small Italian town. It's an Italian film. It came out like 88 or something, right? So there is a theater in his town called the Cinema Paradiso. And it's a very important place to him, and he befriends the projectionist there. And the projectionist it's a coming of age tale, right? It's about him growing up in this town and how important the theater is to him, his friendship with this dude, but also how important this theater and cinema in general is to this community. So it's about what this art of cinema means to us as people, collectively and individually. It's rather brilliant. And the dude winds up growing up, becoming a filmmaker, like a famous filmmaker, and he gets a phone call that his friend has passed away. And so then he just is flooded with memories of all the stuff. And it's so beautiful, so amazing, so emotional. And it truly is a movie about the power of cinema in people's lives. And I can't believe I had never seen it. And I'm so glad I had seen it. So glad it was recommended to me. So thank y'all so much, David and KB. Like, seriously, that was freaking awesome. Cinema Paradiso. Watch it if you get a chance. You never sing His Name is Hellboy no more. I do. I sang it earlier. I sing it every time we get super chats. 62 Lefty Blue says, my living room looks like the video store you go to. Well, hell yeah, man. When are you going to start renting those things out? Dr. Nitrogen's Musical Empire is here. I'm enjoying Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. Anyone else reading this pretty decent image comic by Gary Duggan and Gary Brown? I read the first 3 or 4 and I fell out of it. Maybe it's another one of those ones I should go back and try to get caught back up on. I know a new issue is out this week. Y'all, I'm telling you though, I read that New Gods #1 and it's so freaking clean. It's so good, dog. It's so freaking good. Another thing that I did this week was I finally read the new Jim Rugg comic. I hadn't read it yet, Conspiracy Comics. So there's my copy, and I finally read it and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's pretty much just like true crime comics set up that way. There's 3 stories in it. One is a matter-of-fact kind of documentarian type thing. One is a story about a wrestling match. And then the other one is about this a DEA agent. And I think it's pretty much a follow-up to true crime stories because it's pretty much the same format with those stories. But it opens up with this great illustration right there from Jim Rugg that's great. And this story is pretty much the only thing that would really be considered like a conspiracy, really, I guess. But it's about this bomber plane that fell in a river in Pittsburgh, crashed into the river. And then they spent a long time trying to find this plane, and they can't. It's not there. And the big conspiracy theory is that the government came in the quiet of night and whisked it away because there was some kind of nuclear weapon on it or something like that. So that was pretty much the story. But it was really cool. Jim Rugg is so good at like doing different styles. And then there's the match that he talks about. It's Ric Flair versus one of the Von Erichs. Kerry Von Erich versus Ric Flair. So we know that he's a big fan of wrestling. So they did one of these. He did one of these in True Crime Funnies as well. And then there's the story about the DEA agent. And I also think this is based on a true story too. They're all based on true stories. And the coloring on this one is freaking awesome. But Jim Rugg is a master at his craft. And that's pretty much what it is. So I would highly recommend that you get these. I know you can get them, I think, directly from him. Some shops work directly with him to stock his books. My shop is one of them. So you can also get them through us. But if you can get a hold of it, check out Conspiracy Comics from Jim Rugg. I really, really liked that. Coloring is clean. Hell yeah. Love that letterpress lockup. Dr. Nitrogen says, did you ever read Cinema Purgatorio, the anthology including stories by Alan Moore and Garth Ennis, I think? No, I never did, but I remember when it was out. Eric says, Conspiracy Comics was really cool. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty great book. I would also recommend True Crime Funnies if you've never read that one. Also, Street Angel. I mean, let's have a show about Jim Rugg one day. But if you want to, read Street Angel, Aphrodisiac, Conspiracy Comics, True Crime Funnies. He's got a bunch of little zines and stuff too. I got a few of those. I don't have everything. And then he did this cool little mini comic called Rambo 3.5 that's just fucking stupid. It's just so awesome. It's so stupid and awesome. It's really great. All right. What's next, y'all? What are we talking about? Conspiracy Comics. Comic Cinephile says, Iron Claw is a good and sad movie about the Von Erich family. I really liked Iron Claw. A homie of mine is a wrestler, and I watched it with him. And we all really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's a tragic story. If they were superheroes, they would be the most tragic superheroes. I'll tell you that. 62 Lefty Blues says, Alan Moore's Cinema Purgatorio is dark and deep. Okay. I do seem to stay away from a lot of modern Alan Moore stuff, but I do have a new book from Alan Moore as part of my show and tell presentation for tonight. So 62, you think I should check it out? You think it's worth checking out? I'll look into it. I'll mark it down. The movie is great. Has anybody out there ever seen it? Surely somebody here has seen Cinema Purgatorio or Cinema Purgatorio. Cinema Paradiso. Cinema Purgatorio, of course, is the Alan Moore book. Let's invent stuff like Iron Man and Peter Parker and Reed Richards. All right, let's go. You got any ideas, A+? What do you got? How about a pizza rehydrator? Can we do that? Is something eating the children worth reading? Is something is killing the children? Is it worth reading? Something is killing the children. The first 15 issues for sure are worth reading. Really good, solid stuff. And then I think it started taking a dip in quality. It started losing my engagement. And I fell out of the book. So I can't really speak for where it's at right now. But it was something that was really good. And it had a really good, solid 15-issue run. Then I think they just kind of overextended it. So that's what I think about that. All right. While you guys come up with what else you want to talk about, we're doing a little bit of a taste test. We got a new flavor of Cheez-Its. So I decided to bring these along so we can try them out. It's a smoked Gouda flavor. Now, I am a fan of Cheez-Its, My favorite Cheez-Its are the extra toasty Cheez-Its, followed by the hot and spicy ones, right? And then just regular. And I do like the white cheddar ones, but sometimes they have flavors that you think would be good, like Colby Jack or like Parmesan or something, but I don't usually like them as much. So usually I like the Cheez-Its I like, and I don't usually like some of the other flavors, but this is smoked Gouda, and I do love smoked Gouda. So let's see if we do love the Cheez-Its. Let's see. It's all Gouda, says Bobby. It smells like cardboard and a little bit like feet. All right. There's the smoked Gouda Cheez-It, a little bit lighter in color. Stay. What are you doing? You know, it's not my favorite Cheez-It. It's the smoke flavor. That's what's hindering it for me. The smoky flavor is what's hindering it. The Gouda flavor is there. It's kind of too much of a mellow cheese, I think, for Cheez-It. But it's all right. But it's lacking like a kick that I like in Cheez-Its. Yeah, it's okay. The smoky flavor, I think, is actually holding it back a little bit because it comes across as artificial smoky flavor. And the Gouda's there, but it's kind of a too light of a flavor. It's all right. It's all right. I'll give it like 2.5 out of 5 you digs. That's what I think. Fable says, white cheddar is my go-to. Yeah, that's what I think. I'm glad I tried it. Actually, that one's not that bad. Now, that one wasn't that bad. Maybe I'll be a little bit more generous and say 3. I'll say 3 because I do know that I'm going to finish that box by the end of the week. Eddie Von B says, a new hero with award-winning hair, a love of all things horror, and comics who sings crazy songs and entertains us all. Sounds like you're describing me. BJ, what is up? Station. Dr. Nitrogen says, okay, on the theme of Paradisos, the British movie Guest House Paradiso is crazy, dark, twisted fun. Stars Rick Mayall and Adrian Mayall from The Young Ones and the Bottom TV series. Interesting. I've never heard of that. Eddie Von B says, classic Cheez-Its are so damn good and addictive it's hard to accept new flavors. Extra Toasty's my favorite, man. They're like there's a little slightly like burnt. I love those things. There are other Cheez-It flavors I know I like. White cheddar is dope though. But I know like I think there's been like a Parmesan one that I didn't really like that much. Oh, it's that 4 cheese, the Italian 4 cheese. That's the one I'm thinking. The Cheddar Jack. Like Cheddar Jack is not as good as I thought it would be. And the most disappointing Cheez-It item in recent memory is, of course, the Cheez-It Tostada and Crunchwrap Supreme at Taco Bell. Choose Violence says, I like the store brand Cheez-Its. More cheese and a lot less salt. Another one I used to love, and every once in a while I'll get them. They're from Nabisco, I believe. Because who does Cheez-Its? Or Cheez-Its just made by Cheez-Its? Are they really? I don't see like a company. I wonder if Cheez-Its are just Cheez-Its. Distributed by Kellogg's. So, Cheez-Its made by Kellogg's. Or owned by Kellogg's. Better cheddars. Better cheddars, though. I used to really like those ones. Robbie, BJ, what's up? Is stamp collecting and comic book collecting is considered as a hobby? Which one is better? For me, it's comics because I like the stories involved, but I'm not really into stamps. But it's somebody who's into stamp collecting would probably say stamps are better. Nothing says Tabasco Cheez-Its. Yeah, the hot and spicy ones. Those are good. Now, they did used to actually... Do they actually still have like the green Tabasco bottle on the box? Because they used to, and I don't know if they still do. But yeah, the hot and spicy ones are dope. A Plus says, I like when they top mac and cheese with Cheez-Its. You know, I've never had that, but that sounds really fucking good. Dr. Nitrogen says, actually, Adrian Edmondson. Whoops, got his surname wrong above. No problem. Eddie says, is stamp collecting still a thing? I'm certain there are still people that collect stamps, and I bet stamp collectors are surprised to know that there are still people that collect comics. Monsanto. Different Minds, what is up? Are you excited about One World Under Doom? Sorry if it's in another video. No, I haven't really touched on it too much. Excited enough, I guess. We'll see. I'm more excited about that than, say, Venomverse versus Spider-Verse or some shit like that. But, yeah. Excited enough. We'll see. Ryan North is really kind of curating it. He's doing a decent job with Fantastic Four. It's a Fantastic Four-centric event, a Doom-centric event, obviously, to tie into some of the stuff that's going to be debuting in the MCU that summer. So it's put a focus and a spotlight on Doom and on Fantastic Four. So we'll see. Hope they nail it. Hope they do a good job. Fable is out. What is up? Have a good one, buddy. Don't forget to go check out Fable's show as it returns after a big hiatus Friday night for the all-new, all-different Blame Fable show. Someone please throw out his channel so that everybody can sub up. All right, we're about to be getting into the show and tell portion of the program tonight. What are you drinking tonight, says the chunky one. I am drinking a Kroger brand peach-flavored seltzer water. I'm being boring tonight. Pretty good. I like it. Thank you so much, Eric. I'm being boring with my drink, but I have been vaping some fun stuff, and I did eat 2 candies about 49 minutes ago, and I'm starting to feel very chill and ready to go watch Smile. Hell yeah. Those Cheez-Its were just all right. I know I'm going to wind up eating more of them tonight, though. Yeah, Black Friday's coming up. Pray for your retail workers. All right, show and tell time. This is an exciting show and tell. All right, so you know my buddy that runs the Big Mix video because I always talk about it. Want to show you my latest pickups. So this is a recommendation from him. Actually, this is a movie that I hadn't seen in a long time. It's since like my early 20s, so almost 20 years ago. This is Lamberto Bava's Delirium. The photo of Gioia. I don't know how to really say that, but Delirium, his version of Delirium. There's another movie named Delirium. That's not this. This is the Lamberto Bava one. This is a movie that's been on my brain for a while, and when I was out there, I was like, you know what? Do you have that one? He goes, right there. So boom, there you go. And then this was the one that he recommended, and I was like, I loved your recommendation of Cinema Paradiso so much. What's your next recommendation? So this one is The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. It's got Helen Mirren and Michael Gambon in it. It's from like the early 90s or something, or 1989. He says that this one's pretty crazy. It's rated NC-17, and he says it's got a wild ending, but that's what I rented, so I'm going to try to fit those in to watch this week in the midst of everything else, and if I do watch them, we'll talk about them next week. But yeah, so excited to check those out. Somebody had left a comment about this G.I. Joe compendium. This is the Real American Hero compendium, so you left a comment on last week's Rockin Robbie Live, so I hope you're watching here so I could just show you. He said that he wanted to know my thoughts on this, and that he liked that it was printed on newsprint, but he hated how big it was. Now, it is incredibly freaking big, yo. Like, this is a DVD case. And you see how freaking huge that is. Now, it's the first 50 issues, right? Yeah, the first 50 issues of the Marvel G.I. Joe. And it is printed on newsprint. But he hated how big it was because it seems like it would hinder the ability to read it. But I'll tell you this. First of all, it's very light. And it kind of folds out pretty crazy. Now, I haven't read any of this yet. I am very curious as to if you make your way through this book, and it looks really great, I think. I love that they printed it on this paper. It's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty close. So I do appreciate that. I like that a lot. So I want to read through it, maybe just like one a day or something like that, or just like a couple a week, and make my way through it and see how the binding holds up, because that is a very, very thick fucking book. But it is more like a phone book, so it does kind of open up pretty wide. But I don't know what the experience would be like reading it. But it seems like you're not going to have much loss in page. There are going to be some moments, though, where you're probably going to have to be like, what is that? So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to make our way through this, and we'll see. But I wanted to bring that out. Then, just for the fuck of it, I haven't read these yet. I've read part of issue number 1. But for some reason, I'm really enamored with the idea of Penthouse Comics being back. So I just want to show you my copies and my covers that I have chosen, because I don't really bring them up on the weekly review because I don't have the time to read them. I've read part of this, but I want to get through it. So there's Penthouse Comics issue number 1. There's issue number 2. Issue number 3. It's not my favorite cover, but it's the one I got. Number 4. And the newest one, issue number 5. So maybe during the holidays, I'll have some time to sit down and read through those. That would be fun. I think that'd be super fun. All right, then I told you I had an Alan Moore book I wanted to show you, and there it is. This is the Moon and Serpent Bumper Book of Magic. It's basically a grimoire of sorts from Alan Moore and Steve Moore. So it's part comics. And in the comics, it gives you the history of different magicians and different ideas and philosophies of magic with a K. And then it's got a bunch of stuff, like magical stuff, like explaining the Kabbalah and the different Sephiroth. So lots of information from Alan Moore and Steve Moore about the tarot, about ceremonial magic, about the Kabbalah. Lots of great, brilliant art. And there are these little comics all the way through, the lives of the great enchanters, for instance. You got Rick Veitch doing work in here, talking about tarot cards. And then at the back of it, there's a really cool bit where there's like a temple, a magic temple, that comes with a little wizard of Alan Moore and another magus up there. But it's a temple that you can put together yourself, see? Pretty freaking cool. But if you are interested in magic, chaos magic, ceremonial magic, the Kabbalah, or Alan Moore and his philosophy and things like that, definitely check this book out. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. $50, but worth it if that's what you're interested in. Are those Penthouse comics actually comics or magazines? They're it's magazine size, but it's a comic. They're comics. They're shorts, a bunch of short stories. They're in color. They're not black and white. And there's actually a photo spread in each one too. So it's like got a little bit of Penthouse magazine in it, I guess. What's the retail on the G.I. Joe book? Pretty sure it's like 50 or 60. There's 2 editions. That's the direct market edition with the original cover, and there's the new Chris Mooningham cover on it. $65 bucks. $65 bucks. And Penthouse. See if I can find a page. But they're actual comics. Kind of got that, like, I don't know. All the art seems pretty good. There's not as much like sex in it as you would think, it seems like. But it is an element. They're all like slightly erotic stories in some form or fashion. And then in the back, there is always a photo spread. There's always a photo spread in the back. A nude photo spread, yes. There's guys in the books, but yeah. When they show sex, they show both men and women. Comic Cinephile says Penthouse is on my pull list. It's one of the few books on my pull list. Is it like heavy metal? I don't know. I don't know if the books are like necessarily like sci-fi. Some of them seem so. I don't really know. I haven't really read it. I read some of the first issue, but I don't really remember it. That's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. It looks like they all cross different genres. Like that looks like a little bit more like a spy, mystery, crime thriller or something. They all have sci-fi kind of covers, though, don't they? Dr. Nitrogen says one of those Penthouse comics features Amaranth and some saucy pics. I had a sneak peek in Coast City Comic Store in Portland, Maine. Starscream, what is up? Yeah, they're stories. 62 says, I've been reading Alan Moore, and he knows history very well. Hell yeah. All right, and the last thing we're going to do for show and tell is we're actually going to open something. Thanksgiving is this week, and there is my John Carver NECA Ultimate Thanksgiving figure. Eli Roth's Thanksgiving is a movie that I don't think is the best Eli Roth film, but I do appreciate it. I do like it. It's a little bit more like a gory version of a Scream ripoff. And John Carver is the villain in it. And we're going to open this up in honor of Thanksgiving. So let's do it. Opening the box. Pulling out the figure. All right, he's got 3 faces, a normal face, a super fucked up face where he's been slightly burned, and a little bit of a bloody face. He's got a gun, like a rifle and a handgun, a sledgehammer, an axe, a little hammer, 2 little knives, a few different hands. So there's a few NECA figures that are basically just the Mike Myers body, and this is just a Mike Myers body with a new head sculpt. That's a little lazy, but if it works, it works. Just gotta get this last one cut. Maybe that's enough to get it out. Oh, his hat comes off. That's neat. So his hat comes off. But yeah, basically it's just the Michael Myers body. They've used this also on the Miner from My Bloody Valentine. There he is with the hat. What do y'all think? What weapon should we do? The axe? Let's do it with the axe. We'll give him the axe. I really like these NECA figures. I have all my NECA figures in my living room. Oh, shit. The mask actually comes off, too. That's pretty freaking cool. But it's not full-on spoilers. That's freaking cool. I didn't even know it did that. Sounded like something fell over here when I pulled that mask off. There we go. John Carver from Thanksgiving. John Carver, such a clever name. Well, he's based on the actual character, like the actual figure from history. All right, we're going to put that up in the living room with the other slashers. The burn faces for the deep fried turkey people. I love that that mask comes off. I really like Thanksgiving, though. I know it's not the perfect movie, but I do like it. I do like it. Yeah, Hydra Asylum, it did start as a fake trailer. And I was holding on to what I wanted from that fake trailer. So at first, the movie was slightly disappointing, but I've grown to appreciate it more. Hey, what's up, Christina Payne? Good to see you here. You've made it just in time for... the final 5. All right. Continuing to go through my DVD collection. We're in the S's now. Very excited to show these off. There is Saved by the Bell, seasons 1 and 2 on DVD. I don't have the slipcase for this, but there it is. Seasons 1 and 2 of Saved by the Bell. I'm a huge fan of Saved by the Bell, which is why I also have Saved by the Bell seasons 3 and 4. This one's different because it's in a clamshell case, but I have gone through and rewatched Saved by the Bell multiple times in my life, which is why I also have season 5. So there's the final season of Saved by the Bell. I do want to upgrade these. Shout Factory did a box set that has all of this, which I don't need because I already have it all. But it also has like the wedding special and like the college years. It's like it's got everything. It's all the TV stuff too, the movies. Anyway, so yeah, there's my Saved by the Bell collections. And what's really cool is they look like lockers. See, it's cleverish, right? This is gonna be a fan favorite. This is Scream Queen Hot Tub Party. So this is a bunch of Scream Queens. So there's a few of these type things out there. So what this is it's a few famous Scream Queens from that time doing nude content, as well as having a slumber party and talking about their movies and replaying scenes of like them being nude, right? So it's a big horn fest, right? But that's what it is. But you got Michelle Bauer, Brinky Stevens, Kelly Maroney, Roxanne Kernohan, and Monique Gabrielle. So 5 beautiful women gathered having a hot tub party. It's pretty dope. And Kelly Maroney, she's kind of the whole reason to get that, 100%. All right, and then there's a copy of Solaris. I'm a big Steven Soderbergh fan. I don't have all of his movies. I used to have the majority of them on DVD. I haven't really upgraded any of those to Blu-ray yet. So something sounded like it fell again. Is there a ghost in here? Anyway, so Solaris, though, pretty solid movie. And I really like George Clooney, so there you go. And that has been your very own and official Final 5. All right, so we're dipping out. But last week, if you remember, when we were trying to show you, I was trying to show you the new trailer for the paranormal show that I'm working on with some people called Signal and Noise. And I got the version of it without audio. Well, I've corrected that. So on our way out tonight, we're going to play you the new trailer for Signal and Noise, which was debuted at our first live event for a few weeks ago, and it was super cool. So I hope you enjoy it. Love you. We'll catch you next time. Station, pop, pop, boom. And don't forget, tomorrow night, PCP Movie Night, Back to the Future Part 3. And then we move on to Van Damme, December, with Double Impact, Time Cop, and Street Fighter. You can catch me on Blood Splatter Chatter Sunday night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time for Smile and Smile 2. After that, go check out the all-new, all-different Blame Fable show. And then the monthly review at a special time on Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Y'all, it's been real and it's been fun, but more importantly, it's been super real fun. So station, pop, pop, boom. Thanks for watching. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading, living, learning, loving, and check out this trailer. First time debuted on PCP.
When I was a kid, we moved in right next to the neighborhood, and we walked there, like, literally I was like 11 or maybe younger than 11.
All right, we are on our way to the next place.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we see him?
I think it's him. He's falling down. Maybe it's left.
That's not nope, that's not him.
Damn it. God, yeah, and it was one of those ones that, you know, it's like fucking loud.
Oh, bastards. And we go down there and it's pitch black and there's no lights at all. Just this big alcove, and above there are like trees and like high areas back there that you can walk up to if you know how to get there.
Oh, it wasn't responding the way it was the last time.
Yeah.
Oh no, they hated it this time.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is experimentation. Trying out. Like, I'm not judging you, brother, right?
It's like
It was just weird when you were like, hold up.
Close Encounters.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm terrified of all ghost stuff, even though I don't believe in anything. But we're walking around and we hear loud as day. We hear, ah! Just one loud, piercing scream from the trees, and I immediately was like, I wanna go, 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 can we go, I wanna go, I wanna go, can we go, I wanna go, I wanna go,
Trying to do the photo shoot today. No Robbie, no Blake. May not happen. We'll see. Basic story of the house here. That'll be the last one on it. Found an orange ball after that orange orb encounter.
Say that again, I wasn't recording. I'm so serious.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious, y'all.
Are you really?
I am now. I'm so serious.
Were you recording any of it?
No, none of that.
I told the orange ball sigil story.
He did.
I know you did, and I told you. I'm so sorry I didn't film any of that.
How do we feel about what happened?
I don't want to go home tonight.
Let me know. You want to
Yeah, let me see.
where's your
What do I
shot?
Try not to get a customer here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Come up to like Trevor, like right up in this little section right here.
Hey man, just get you.